Good morning, everybody. Happy Pride Month. Woohoo! There you go. Sun is shining. It's another beautiful day here in Rockville to celebrate our pride, celebrate the beautifully inclusive community that we have here in Montgomery County, and that we continue to spread our joy, our love, and our progressive values with every single resident in our community. And, this is the work that we've been doing, and this work has taken a long time. There are so many people to thank, so many trailblazers who came before us to make not only Montgomery County, but also the state of Maryland a more fair and equitable place for everybody. And, this is also the 10th year, the 10th anniversary of the passage of marriage equality here in the state. We have some incredible leaders who you'll hear from in a few moments who led that fight in Annapolis, but that fight was not an easy one. And it took a long time to make Maryland the first state in the country to support marriage equality by voter referendum. And to think back on it, 52%, only 52% of Maryland residents supported it at that time. And it was a long time coming. But as we see what's happening in this nation right now, where we have states that are pulling back support for LGBTQ plus communities, we have states that are dictating what teachers can say in and outside the classroom, where we have library systems that are banning books, reducing opportunities, reducing education, reducing inclusive values. We here in Maryland and we here in Montgomery County are saying no and rejecting that type of behavior. We're going to continue moving forward. We're going to continue supporting every single resident here, making sure that they feel safe, making sure that they feel valued. And that is the Montgomery County, and that is the Maryland way. And I'm so proud to be supported and to be here with all of my colleagues across county government, across state government behind me. And before we hear from everybody behind me, yeah, right? So be mindful of that, everybody behind me. There are a few people that I want to acknowledge right now. I do want to acknowledge Brent Gerard from the office of Senator Chris Van Hollen. Where are you, Brent? Thank you very much for being here, and thank you, Senator Van Hollen, for all of his work. Also want to recognize the staff and interns of Congressman Jamie Raskin. Kathleen Connor, where are you, Kathleen? We know the congressman is protecting democracy, and we'll be hearing a lot from him later this week as well, so thank you for representing him. And then also Travis Simon, who's the political director of SEIU Local 500. Travis, where are you? Standing tall, standing proud, Travis. But first, I want to invite our partner in these efforts. I want to invite County Executive Marc Elrich. Where are you, County Executive? County Executive Marc Elrich, leading our county government here, making sure everybody feels welcome, safe, and included.
Thank you. So we're gathered here today to celebrate the progress we've made as a county in ensuring equity for LGBTQ plus community. And I want to thank Council Vice President Evan Glass, our first openly gay individual to serve on the council. And I want to say thank you for this work, and I want to thank everybody who's here today who's joined us. I want to acknowledge our Chief Administrative Officer, Richard Madaleno, who 10 years ago, as a state senator, co-sponsored the Civil Marriage Protection Act that led to our state becoming the first in the nation to support marriage equality by popular vote. I want to thank Tiffany Ward, our county's first Chief Equity Officer, who's doing incredible work for all the communities, including the LGBTQ plus community in Montgomery County. And I also want to thank Dr. Amina Johnson and the advisory group on LGBTQ affairs. All of you together make our effort to combat hate and to make sure that everybody has a place in Montgomery County. It helps make that effort real. And I want to send a very clear message, whether it's women's rights, reproductive rights, LGBTQ plus rights, anybody's rights. This county is not moving backward, period. We will not be moved. In 1993, when I was on the Tacoma Park City Council, we passed one of the earliest domestic partnership laws to allow partners of LGBTQ plus individuals to have access to their loved ones at the hospital. We found out from members in our community who were trying to visit their loved ones who were at Washington Adventist and also other hospitals in the county that parents were able to say that your partner was not part of the family, and the hospital was able to say that your domestic partner was not part of the family. So we passed the domestic partnership legislation to legalize the relationship so that all these institutions had to recognize that these were in fact partners and allow them to visit. And it was amazing that we had to do that. But I'm proud that we did it, and it was one of the first steps toward the broader changes that took place 10 years ago. Our legislation recognized that the partners of those hospitals were, in fact, family members. Clearly, it's taken far too long for the LGBTQ community to make progress toward equality. And progress in recent years only serves to remind us how much we still owe this community, whose rights and freedoms were denied for generations. And at the same time, we have to recognize that many people in this community continue to face violence, abuse, verbal abuse, lack of opportunities to be promoted. All the discriminatory things that were with us before still exist. Maybe not in the same level, but they're still there. Things have changed, but things have not gotten to the point that you can say we have solved this problem. Nearly 240 anti-LGBTQ bills have been filed to date in 2022 throughout our nation. 240 bills. That's a lot of effort going into keeping people from being able to exercise their rights. And among them are one of the most insane bills passed is the Don't Say Gay bill. I feel like we should all chant gay, gay, gay for a few minutes and send the tape to Governor DeSantis so that make the point that, yeah, this is not a bad word. You can deal with it. We're going to continue to listen to this community. We're going to continue to work with them. This month, Montgomery County has launched a new online survey for the LGBTQ plus community, and we believe the survey is the first of its kind questionnaire that's meant to identify and ultimately address social issues and unforeseen barriers felt by the community. People aren't always able or willing to come out openly and speak about it. We're hoping that this survey, with the anonymity it will have, will help people come forward and talk about what the issues are that they're seeing and confronting. And this can be conducted during the month of June by the LGBTQ Liaison and the Advisory Board, and we look forward to sharing those results to help address the challenges that we all face. Montgomery strives to be a safe place for our community residents and a place where these individuals do not and will not live in fear. And we help foster activism by fighting discrimination in employment and government inaction amidst the AIDS crisis. Montgomery County also focuses on inclusive events for the LGBTQ plus community for students and younger residents like Pride Prom. And in October, I was proud to proclaim the first ever Montgomery County LGBTQ questioning, so I guess it's a WQ plus, History Month. This was an opportunity to take a moment to learn some of the history of the community in Montgomery County. Later this month, there are going to be celebrations at Glen Echo Park this Saturday. Tacoma Park Pride Day is Sunday. LGBTQ Pride in the Plaza at Veterans Plaza in downtown Silver Spring and Rockville Pride Day are both on June 26th. And on June 24th, our rec department is hosting Pride in the Field, a day of outdoor games and sports in White Oak for LGBTQ plus teens. There's a lot happening here. There's a lot we're doing. There's a lot that you do as activists to help make sure this county is safe and gets safer. We welcome your participation. Always want to know what you think about the progress we're making. Let us know when it's not enough. Let us know what we need to do and tell us when we're doing something right. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much, County Executive Elrich. 4 years ago, we had never raised the pride flag in this spot, and there were not many, if any, coordinated pride activities throughout the county. And I'm so proud that the county has stepped up, not only county government, but our arts and humanities organizations, our civic organizations, and so many others who are now hosting events all throughout the county. The county executive listed a few of them. There are more that are listed on the county's website and on my county council website as well, so check that out for more. Now I'd like to bring up my friend and the Montgomery County Council's president, Gabe Albornoz. Where are you? Right here. There you go.
Well, hello, good people. Happy Pride. This is an absolutely spectacular day, an important moment. So I want to begin by acknowledging and thanking my good friend, Council Vice President Glass. The leadership that he has shown these last 4 years and the courage that he and his team have shown these last 4 years are nothing short of extraordinary. The legislation that he and Councilmember Katz co-led to recently ensure that single-use restrooms in Montgomery County are non-gender focused is just another example of the leadership that he has shown. He has also, we can't forget, as he mentioned what is happening across this country, the forces that are trying to take us back to 1922, not 2022, are here as well. And I will never forget that he shared with us on the council some of the messages that he and his team received when he worked diligently to ensure that we raised this flag 4 years ago. They were terrifying. And they reminded us that we have to band together as a community to push back against the forces that want to ban books, that want to ensure that hate rules. That cannot and never will rule here in Montgomery County. In Montgomery County, we build bridges and ladders, not walls. In Montgomery County, we ensure that everyone is treated with dignity and respect. And that is what we are focused on, and that is what this month reminds us of. But it can't just be a month. It has to be an entire year, and it has to be an entire movement. And we have to support our brothers and sisters in jurisdictions across this country to ensure that we don't just affirm the values here in Montgomery County, but we do it across the United States. So I'm honored to stand with this extraordinary leader and all of the extraordinary leaders behind me, but more importantly, our LGBTQ plus community here in Montgomery County. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, President Albornoz. Now we have a special guest who is joining us, someone I recently met. I have the honor to introduce to you Laurel Faust. And Laurel graduated from George Washington University with a master's in international affairs in the mid-1980s. And her career path in government got derailed before it ever started. When she applied for positions in government, they required security clearances. And back then, the clearances asked if you were gay or lesbian, or were considering being gay or lesbian. And as part of that security check, Laurel was followed. And after she was followed going into a gay establishment when she was living in San Diego, California, her job application was immediately terminated. And she persevered, she persisted, and now she has had a 15-year career at U.S. Pharmacopeia, an incredible federal agency located right here in Rockville that has been around for 200 years and most recently has been keeping us all healthy and safe from the pandemic. And so, Laurel, I'd like to invite you up and share your story and personally thank you for persevering. Where are you, Laurel? You're right behind me. Thank you.
Thank you. As Councilmember Glass said, I went to Thomas Pyle Junior High School. I went to Walt Whitman High School. I've been a Montgomery County resident for most of my life. I went away to college in New York where I got my bachelor's degree in political science. I got my master's degree in international affairs from George Washington University. When I entered the workforce, if you applied for a position that required a security clearance, you were asked the question, have you ever engaged in homosexual activity? If you answered yes, then you would be drilled with questions. Maybe you would get the position, but maybe you wouldn't. If you answered no, because you hadn't yet engaged in a homosexual act, but then you were followed into a gay establishment, then your application process was abruptly concluded. And this was my experience. The practice stemmed from the Joseph McCarthy days. It didn't change until the mid-1990s, when former President Bill Clinton issued an executive order stating that sexual orientation should not be grounds for denial of security clearance. Former President Clinton also signed Don't Ask, Don't Tell, which said you could be gay in the military as long as you didn't tell anyone. Don't Ask, Don't Tell was ruled unconstitutional in 2010. The military only began to unconditionally allow transgender people to serve last year. After I was denied security clearance, I decided to come out of the closet. When I told my roommate, she kicked me out of my residence. I made some adjustments in my life then. It's now many years later, and I work up the street at the United States Pharmacopoeia. USP is across the street from the Twin Brook Metro. I've been working there for 15 years. I've been out the whole time, and everyone has always been fully supportive. USP supports the values of diversity, inclusion, and belonging, as all companies should. I am co-chair of USP's Lesbian, Gay, Bi, Trans, Queer Plus Diversity Group. My co-chair, Michael Smits, is also here today. We raised the progressive pride flag at USP last week. Thank you, Councilmember Glass, for attending and speaking at our event. We will also raise the Juneteenth flag on June 15th. Please come see. Thank you.
Thank you, Laurel, for speaking your truth, for being who you are, for representing so well, and for being a leader for so many others with whom you work with or will continue in the future. So thank you, Laurel. Next up, I want to invite some friends and colleagues who've been leading the way, particularly in Annapolis, helping fight for marriage equality, as was mentioned before, and want to again acknowledge former State Senator Rich Madaleno for his efforts in the State House back then. And one of his partners in that effort is our own District 14 delegate, Ann Kaiser, who I'd like to come up and say a few words. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Pride. I'll keep my remarks brief to 2 points. One, this past year I introduced a Trans Health Equity Act bill that we had success only in the State Senate but not the State House of Delegates, so we could use everyone in the community's support in that effort. And Councilman Glass, kudos to you for all that you've done with Pride Month these last 4 years. And I want to make another point about that marriage equality legislation that we passed 10 years ago. And you did mention that it was 52% in the state of Maryland, and it's hard to believe that it wasn't more. But let me tell you something that I remarked on to everyone after that election. I am from this county. I've lived here all my life. Marriage equality in the other 23 jurisdictions lost by 20,000 votes. In Montgomery County, a 120,000 vote margin in favor of marriage equality. I couldn't be more proud of my county. So just want to thank everyone again, and thank you so much, Councilman Glass.
And we too are proud of you, Delegate Kaiser. Thank you for your leadership. Next, I want to introduce and invite up a number of my colleagues Did this just go off again? Yep, there we go. Introduce a number of my colleagues if we want to come up. Councilmembers Katz, where are you? Councilmember Katz, who's here, District 3 right now.
Thank you very much. And did you notice that he cut off the microphone as I was coming up to speak? Did you? You know, I'm very, very proud to stand with my good friend, Vice President of the Council, Evan Glass, who has truly led the way for all of us to realize exactly what today and every day should mean in Montgomery County. And I also have to tell you that I'm going to tell you his secret. He said that all of us behind you have 1 minute to speak. The chances of that are pretty slim, I think, but I will try my best to do what I'm going to say in 1 minute. Every day, people in Montgomery County, we say this is a Pride Month. This is a Pride life. We have to work together to make certain that everyone is comfortable in our entire lives with each other. And thank you so very, very much for allowing me to be a part of this. And thank you very much, Councilmember Glass.
Thank you. Councilmember Katz is always leading by example, sticking to 1 minute. Thank you very much, Councilmember Katz. Next up, someone who always follows Councilmember Katz's advice, Councilmember Craig Rice.
Thank you very much, Council Vice President Glass. I will be brief, which is a rarity for me. We need to remember our kids. And our kids are having a very difficult time right now, just seeing everything that's happening in the world and continuing to focus on what we know is unhealthy for them, which is splitting our children apart. Trying to continue to separate them based on how they identify, who they choose to love, are not things that we know are conducive to their mental health. There's so many other things, so many other struggles that our children are faced with as we look at what they're dealing with, whether it's climate change, whether it's some of the racial unrest that we see in our communities across the country, gun violence, and we're adding on this other layer of continuing to make these divides that when my daughters actually first started going to school, said they never saw. I was hoping that we were in a positive direction to where we would actually see the progress that we thought would hold when it came to acceptance, when it came to diversity, when it came to understanding. And unfortunately, we have to be real about it. We're going in the wrong direction now, in the exact opposite direction. And we're hearing it from our children. We need to listen to our kids, just like the kids at James Hubert Blake that designed Ally the Ally years ago to focus on making sure that we have that inclusion and acceptance. We need to make sure that for our kids, for our future generations, that we're doing the right thing. We know how they're depending upon us. And I just wanted to thank Delegate Kaiser and Delegate Hucker, then Delegate Hucker, for supporting a bill that we had that dealt with anti-bullying in the state of Maryland. Became one of the strongest anti-bullying laws in the nation because it identified sexual orientation, something that a lot of bullying bills do not do. But the key is that we have to enforce it. And so my message is to everybody in the community, remain vigilant. If you're a parent, if you're a student who's experiencing bullying because of who you are, who you choose to love, what you choose to do, please reach out to our offices and let us know. We will make sure that we hold folks accountable for tearing apart what we know is a great thing. We all need to be together. That's what's most important. Thank you.
There you go. Thank you. And one other person who was in Annapolis 10 years ago and is here on the county council now, Councilmember Tom Hucker.
Thank you so much, Council Vice President Glass. If Councilmember Rice held himself to a minute, it really is a momentous occasion. Thank you all so much for being here, and thank you so much, Evan, for your leadership on this issue. I remember 2012 very, very well, serving in Annapolis with Senator Manalino and Delegate Kaiser and Delegate, I think then, Waldstreicher and so many others. That was an unforgettable year, and the accomplishments of that year succeeded many, many years of organizing. And as proud as we were to become the 7th state to pass marriage equality and the first that wasn't forced to do that by a judge, and the first to have our decisions ratified by the public, first in the whole nation, there were people who foolishly said, well, okay, we're done. This is such a transformative moment that now we can just move on to other issues. And we have seen
over and over and over in the last several years, that was premature. As hard as it is to pass legal protections, it's even harder to change people's hearts and minds. And 240 bills that the county executive referred to reflects an awful lot of fear and hatred and, frankly, resources behind those. So I'm really glad that Montgomery County was a leader in 2012 with our 120,000 vote margin. We have to continue to have ceremonies like this and to pass legislation and to speak out and make all our residents feel safe and valued and seen and protected, because Montgomery County continues to have to be a leader year after year on this issue until everyone is safe. Thank you so much. Thank you, Evan.
Thank you. Thank you. Next up is Councilmember from District 1, Andrew Friedson. Yep, you're right behind me. There we go.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to join my friend and our colleague, Council Vice President Evan Glass, for this momentous occasion. It is critical here in Montgomery County, as places around the country are moving us backwards, we're marching forward because we live our values out loud here in Montgomery County, and we're sending a loud message to everybody who is listening that regardless of who you are and who you love and how you identify, that you are safe here, that you are welcome here, and that you are included here in Montgomery County. Civil rights should never be up for a popular vote, but I am proud that in Montgomery County we did vote to affirm those rights 10 years ago, and that we are continuing to make sure that every one of our residents, and especially every one of our young people, understands that regardless of who they are, regardless of who they love, regardless of how they identify, that they are welcome, they are included, and they are loved here in Montgomery County. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for our state partners for leading the way at the state level, and happy Pride.
And thank you. And rounding us out on the council is Councilmember Will Jawando.
Thank you, Evan, and my seatmate for much of my time on the council. And this is a great day. Thanks to all the colleagues for being here. Happy Pride Month. And to Ron DeSantis and those who would seek to divide us, happy Pride Month. But also, we're going to say it out loud: lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, questioning plus. They are not bad words. We are able to be who we are in this county, in this country, because we have fought for it. Justice requires vigilance. Those 280 bills are not going to go away. We must fight. This flag that we will raise that's been updated to include even more of those who have been disenfranchised and discriminated against was born out of strife in response to the 1969 riots and fights and death at Stonewall. But it has come to represent a joyous occasion that we can be who we are in this county, in this country, and be proud of it. So we commit on the council, with the leadership of my good friend, Councilmember Glass, and all of us, to keep fighting, to keep that vigilance alive so that everyone can be who they are in Montgomery County and in our nation. God bless you and happy Pride Month.
And as has been noted over and over again, this is a joint effort. We here in Montgomery County, the state's largest jurisdiction, can't get this work done without our partners. You've heard from a few of them, and you will hear from a few more before we raise the flag. First, I'd like to invite up Senator Jeff Wallstreicher from District 18.
Thank you to Councilmember Evan Glass, Vice President Evan Glass. So proud to be here with you today. My name is Jeff Wallstreicher. It's an honor to serve in the State Senate representing District 18. I am the successor to the aforementioned Senator Rich Madaleno, the first openly gay senator in Maryland history, and the driving force with Delegate Kaiser to marriage equality, which has been talked about here today. I'm so honored to celebrate the 10th anniversary of marriage equality with you here in Pride Month. But I'll tell you what, and Councilmember Hucker kind of hinted at this, you talk to anyone 25 years and younger about marriage equality, and they will make you feel like the oldest man who ever lived. And what that look means is that we have work to do, to build on the legacy of the historic figures that are joining us here today, to make sure everyone feels included and safe here in Montgomery County and throughout the entire state. You have my word that we'll continue to fight on their behalf. Happy Pride Month. Thank you for having me.
Next up is District 20 Delegate Lord Charkoudian.
Thank you. Happy Pride, everyone, and thank you, Councilmember Glass, for your courage and pushing through the hatred that you received to bring us here together today to continue our tradition in this county and in this state of being leaders in inclusiveness and being leaders in love and being leaders in civil rights. And so, just here to say, as devastated as we are to watch the hate sweep across the country, we are doubling down here on inclusiveness. We're doubling down here on our fight to continue to make Maryland a beacon. And I look forward to working with my colleagues in the General Assembly and our colleagues here in the county to continue to be inclusive, to be loving, and to be the beacon for civil rights that we know the rest of the country will one day catch up with us. And we look forward to that time. Happy Pride.
Thank you. Next up is District 15 Delegate David Fraser Hidalgo.
Thank you very much for inviting us and having us here. I'm going to be really simple. At the end of the day, tolerance is not what we need. What we need is love. Love always, always wins. It might take a little longer, but love always wins. And in the General Assembly, I work with all of my colleagues, and we work on the county level as well, both local and state and federal, to do everything we can to ensure that love wins. So that's it. Love wins. Thank you.
Love wins, and I was actually driving down Colesville Road in Silver Spring over the weekend, and there was a Maryland license plate that said "Love wins," L-U-V, right? So it absolutely does. And last person between us and raising the flag, no pressure, Delegate Jared Solomon from District 18. No pressure.
Well, I will be brief. It's a real pleasure to be here with my friend, Council Vice President Evan Glass, who I'm really honored to be able to partner with him and Councilmember Katz on the single occupancy, non-specific restroom bill that we're working on in Annapolis. We often partner so that Montgomery County can be the leader and sort of the tip of the spear as we push for the same rights across the state. I'm going to just reiterate what's already been said. Pride Month is wonderful, but it can't just be a month. It has to be every day. No matter who you identify as, no matter who you love, you're welcome. Montgomery County is safe, Maryland is safe, and we will do everything we can to make sure that we are a bulwark against the hatred that we see across the country. So happy Pride, and thanks for letting me say a few words.
There you go. Thank you. So you've heard from everybody about what we're doing here in Montgomery County, what we're doing across the state of Maryland to make sure that everybody feels safe and protected, making sure that whatever happens down on the Supreme Court, whatever rights they start stripping away, whether it's reproductive freedom or what comes next, and we know what comes after that. It is marriage equality. It is the freedom for adults to engage in consenting relationships. That is what's next. And we here today are telling the residents of Montgomery County and Maryland that we're here to protect you, that we are here to make sure that we don't build walls around Montgomery County, that everybody is welcome here regardless of their nation of origin, regardless of their immigration status, the color of their skin, where they pray, who they love, or how they identify. That is who we are. I'm honored and proud to stand with all of my friends and colleagues here. And now let's raise that flag. So.